is the United Arab Emirates. Positioned near the borders of Oman is the Ain International Raceway. The track sits just 90 minutes from Dubai and Abu Dhabi, making it a central hub for racing enthusiasts across the region. It's surrounded by the majestic Jebel Hafid Mountains, and it certainly proves to be a formidable circuit for the racers for round 5 of the Champions of the Future Academy program. Year of opening, 2007. The event record set in time qualifying yesterday, 54.172 by Sadamat Soy. That was not beaten today, and we do expect those times to go down a little more as the day progresses and the temperature rises throughout the day. The track itself, though, an absolutely fantastic circuit. Full throttle down that start-finish straight, 275 metres, 187 metres down the back straight in towards turn 13. The track widens from 7 to 10 metres. It's a flat circuit, no elevation at all, but there are some crests, there are some curbs that these drivers need to watch out for over the course of today's qualifying heats. The turns, 14 of them that span the 1.3 kilometre race distance, 6 to the right, 8 to the left, and the 3 hairpins, all 14 of them provide ample overtaking opportunities, but the main spots that we've seen them in towards turn 1, at turn 6 and turn 13, after you get that long slipstream down that back straight, you can get a great run into 13 as long as you can hold it around that final corner, and that has promoted some absolute staggering photo finishes over the course of the racing we've seen yesterday. Today, though, we are expecting drivers to reach that top speed, 130 kilometers an hour into the braking zone of turn number 1. We're averaging around 90 kilometers an hour around the entirety of the lap, meaning it is a fast flowing, demanding circuit, and as the temperature rises even more, it is going to be super difficult for the drivers to maintain everything that they need to get through today's racing. The temperature at the moment, 24 degrees. We expect it to reach into the mid-30s as the day progresses, but at this moment in time, the wind is there. It's keeping the drivers a little bit cooler, but when they've got that helmet, race suit, and everything on and the engine's going, it gets a little bit warm in there. The first heat's coming up in a few moments' time, and it kick-starts with the OKN Junior category. Qualifying Heat 1 is coming up in a few moments' time, and once again, pole position today exactly the same as yesterday. Australia's James Anagnostiidis finds himself P1 for today's qualifying heats. There he is on your screen ahead of this one. We did speak to him after time qualifying. Seems happy, doesn't want to change anything, seems confident about today's racing, just wants to make sure that everyone stays behind him, and you can think completely understandable about that. The qualifying heats yesterday, if you did manage to watch any of it, Leonidas Peruzzi taking the win in qualifying heat 1. And Ignacianis, like we were saying there, on pole position, he finished in P2. Toby Gale finishing in 3rd place. There, though, on your screen, this is an interesting one. Axel Nocom from the Philippines, he's put himself on that front row. Fantastic qualifying from Axel Nocom. We didn't see him on the podium yesterday. He had some great races, but this time he's got a really good starting spot here. So really crucial to see how he gets on and how he deals with the stress of being at the front of a grid. There is a look at some of the hard-working, dedicated track staff here at the Ain Raceway International Kart Circuit. They have been absolutely fantastic over this weekend, making sure the drivers and the track stays nice and safe over the course of the racing this weekend, and they're having to deal, of course, with the hot temperatures, so you can understand them hiding away in that marshal box there to try and stay in the shade. More action in the qualifying as well. Aryan Singh qualifying 3rd overall. He'll be starting on that 2nd row. He'll be joined by Leonidas Peruzzi as we go live on board with Dinia Islamov running around in the number 27. He starts this one P8 on the grid, and again, curious to see how he gets on, because he had up and down races over the course of yesterday, found himself in good spots, had a little bit of trouble here and there with traffic, but today is a brand new day, so if any driver yesterday had a bad day, they can forget it. They can wipe the slate clean. It's a brand new day today, and they can just think, right, let's have a good one today. We did see briefly the yellow flag waving at the front, meaning we've got seconds until these engines get fired up. There is the yellow flag. I think as soon as he starts waving that, Robert Rees on the grid there, the chief grid officer, keeping the drivers in check, and the mechanics, of course, as well. As we get the green flag, that waves, and we are heading out onto the track. It's the first qualifying heat of the day, and hopefully all these karts fire up. Yesterday there was some problems for some, and we're seeing more for others. That was Veer Chopra just not coughing into life, but let's take you through that full starting grid. Once again, Ain Raceway on pole position, this time joined by Axel Nocom. Aryan Singh and Leonidas Peruzzi go from row 2, ahead of Daniel Kelleher and Matis Vitva on row 3. Conor Clancy and Dinia Islamov go from row 4. They'll have Oscar Gallen and Egon Pedrotti on row 5. Vanessa Shilkaneta and Veer Chopra, they round out the top 12 on row number 6. Kasper Reipold and Ella Hakkinen, they go from row 7. They'll be joined from Nathan Kappin and Didier Kreeft on row 8. Amelia Vishamirska and Zachariah Dole go from row number 9. Toby Gale and Xavier Dudkovsky go from row 10. They round out the top 20. They'll be joined by William Marshall and Maxim Bobrajov on row 11. Mitans Jain and Victoria Farfus go from row 12. Marcel Sapella and Sujana Dandu on row 13. They'll be joined by Sanjana Dandu and Angelina Simmons on row 14. Nicholas Stanley and Corrine Kaur go from row 15, and it'll be Vera Jurland on that final row of the grid for Sweden in 31st place, starting on the 16th row. Like we were saying yesterday, a very busy day for the junior category, but today is a brand new day. Yesterday in the final, if you did miss it, Ain Raceway took that final win, extended his championship lead, as he now has a grand total of 514 championship points ahead of Kasper Reipold, who is now on 439. Reipold on that podium yesterday in 3rd place after gaining the 2 positions, is helping his championship fight out, but he needs to get ahead of Ain Raceway, and today, with Ain Raceway on pole position and Reipold all the way in P13, that's going to make it a superb challenge to try and get through the field. Daniel Kelleher in his first appearance in the Champions of the Future Academy program this weekend at Elaine. He put it on the podium yesterday in that final, 2nd overall, and again a relatively decent qualifying for him today as well. Starting this one on the 3rd row of the grid in P5. It is the first race of the day as the drivers make their way to the tram lines. Are we going racing first time? We are indeed. Green flag, and we head down in towards turn number 1. Yesterday there was a huge moment. Today there's a huge moment, and 3 drivers off, and I think one of them could be Reipold himself. I did see the number 41 go off there. That was Xavier Dudkovsky. Yellow flags are out at turn number 1, but it's only local yellows. We are still green and racing for the front runners, so Ain Raceway is in control of this race right now as he tries to lead the rest of them. Frustration coming in, understandably, as the team are quickly on the scene there to help clear the track. But my goodness, the 3 drivers involved, it was Kasper Reipold. We were just talking about him, 2nd in the championship. Amelia Vishamirska and Xavier Dudkovsky are the 3 drivers off the track at turn number 1, and they are out of this race, and there you can see, understandably, probably very, very frustrated. Well, it's not the best way to start the race or the day today, but, however, the race must go on, and we are still green and racing towards turn number 1, and a driver sending it down the inside at turn number 1 as well. It's Ain Raceway who leads the way ahead of Aryan Singh, who's got up into 2nd place. Daniel Kelleher currently in 3rd ahead of Leonidas Peruzzi. Clancy's got himself into P5. Axel Nocom from that front row didn't get the best getaway. He's dropped down to P6, but he is still in that lead group. Matthias Vitva currently in 7th place from Dinia Islamov. Egon Pedrotti from Vanessa Shilkaneta. Nathan Kappin currently rounding out the top 11 right now. Biggest mover on the opening laps, Nicholas Stanley, the American, in the 53, is up 8 places right now and is just outside the top 20 as we watch here. James Ain Raceway try to break away from the rest of the field. This, though, is kicking off a little bit here as down the inside, Conor Clancy having to deal with Axel Nocom, and he's all chopped and changed here as they head back across the start-finish line. Big movements all the way throughout here. Clancy's up to 4th now. Vitva's got himself up to P5. Pedrotti up to P7 now. Dilia Islamov was the biggest loser in that one, as another retirement. That's Leonidas Peruzzi, the number 11 yesterday. Absolutely flying yesterday was Peruzzi, but today finds himself out of his first qualifying heat, and there he is, absolutely distraught. He had a brilliant day yesterday in his qualifying heats, winning the first heat yesterday, but today it's not going to go his way. There, though, is your current race leader, Ain Raceway, but he's not broken away here. He's got pressure. He has got Ardian Singh on his rear bumper, on his side of his bumper, and now in front of him. Ardian Singh leads the way in the first qualifying heat of the day as he heads towards the start-finish line to start lap number 4 here. But Ain Raceway is going to fight back instantly. He's not going to waste any time, and Daniel Kelleher finds his way to the inside as well, but he cannot get through. Ardian Singh slams that door closed and says, no, you are not going to get past me in this first qualifying heat, as Kelleher sets the fastest lap of the race. Down the back straight they go in towards turns number 8, 7, 8 and 9 to start the third sector here. And already Ain Raceway, I think, who's lost out on that lead momentarily, has thought, right, I cannot let this slip, and as you can see already, he's broken away just that little bit. Here's a look at the restart again on the left-hand side of your screen, and well, unsure what happened there, what the initial contact was, but the first spin there was Kasper Reipold. He was the first driver who I saw going sideways, and it was again just a case of that little crest on the circuit hitting that one, and then unfortunately catching the other 3 drivers there, and unfortunately we're losing those drivers as well out there. Dubkowski, Wyszemiska out also of that race. Fastest lap on lap number 5, Conor Clancy going a 55.586. He's having a good race. He's currently in P4. He's behind this group of 3, and in fact he's caught up to that group of 3. So this is going to be an interesting one here to see whether or not he could make his way past Daniel Kelleher here. Now, both these drivers very, very committed, very strong performers in the world of karting. Let's see what they could do here right now. They've got the breathing space between themselves and 5th place. Axel Nocom is back there in P5. He's still having a relatively decent race. And there you can see the hand gestures coming in to the drivers to just think, you know, what do you want to do? Are you going to push forward? Are you going to stay behind? What's the plan? And right now, Ardian Singh, I think his plan is to just try and keep these drivers behind. Back on board with Diniya Islamov. He's down 2 places right now. He's not had the greatest getaway, but he is still in contention here. He has got competitors in front as the cleanup operation at turn number 1 continues there. Eyes on this one, though. Ardian Singh's lost out on 2nd place. Kelleher has got his way through. Conor Clancy still there in P4. He's not found his way past just yet. He has stayed behind as they head through now turns 11 and 12 onto that back straight. 187 meters this straight. It's a long back straight here in towards turn 13. It's prime for an overtake down the inside, but these 3 are just thinking, do we need to work together now to try and close in on Ain Raceway? You can see he's broken away there, but are they going to start to think that they're not going to catch up to him and maybe think, right, let's battle between ourselves? This is the replay. Clancy making those moves. This is Daniel Kelleher going down the inside. Conor Clancy just not finding his way through, but Daniel Kelleher getting up to 2nd place, pushing his way forward now. The gap has come down to 0.7 of a second as now Conor Clancy goes on the move down the inside through turn at number 7, sends it to the inside of Ardian Singh. A very interesting place to do it. We've not seen many overtakes at turn number 7 and 8. It's very fast into the entry, very easy to lose the back end, as there is a pole sitter from the senior category, Marcus Shilkunis, just watching over the junior race here ahead of this one, on board with Diniya Islamov. He is battling away with Egon Prodotti and Vanessa Shilkanete just ahead. There you can see Egon Prodotti in the number 35, just ahead of him, heading out of turn 14. But all of them still racing very strong in those groups behind. We're on lap number 8 now. Last lap board will be out this time. Gap again coming down just that little bit. Ain Raceway's pace is good, but Kelleher's pace is just fractionally faster. And is that a concern maybe for the next qualifying heat later on today? If Kelleher gets a better run off the line, could he be a contender to close in on Ain Raceway? That will be the question. But right now, I think he's clear and dry. The gap still 0.6 of a second between the two of them. This one here, though, is still close. Aryan Singh has not dropped off the back of Conor Clancy. This is the battle for third place. And there you can see some of the stats from it. Clancy with the brilliant run on this one. He started this one P7. He's currently in third place. As we go on to that final lap, a gain of 4. Aryan Singh only down that one spot right now as the two of them continue to go wheel to wheel here in towards turn number 2. And look at that. Aryan Singh is not going to back down at all. Back up into third place on this final lap. Can he hold on to it, though? Because this is where he lost out on the position last time around to Conor Clancy. Is he going to take it back there? Back with the leaders here. Kelleher once again set the fastest lap of the race. He's closed back in on Anagnostianis. It's only 0.4 of a second. Can he get that slipstream? Can he get that toe down in towards turn number 13? I don't think he's close enough. I think Anagnostianis might have this one if he can hold his nerve through these last corners. There's smoke that's being kicked up in the background there. There's carts off the circuit. We'll try and figure out who that is. But across the line, it's going to be close. But it'll be Anagnostianis only just. I don't think he realised how close Daniel Kelleher was to him there, because that was 0.043 of a second across the line. My goodness. Talk about nearly celebrating too early there for James Anagnostianis, but he kept his cool. He got the win, only just though from Daniel Kelleher. Aryan Singh holds on to third place from Conor Clancy on that last lap. I think the driver who went off the circuit was Dinia Islamov, but unfortunately the driver who had the onboard camera did not come through sector 2 or 3. And I think maybe had a drama with Victoria Farfus as well, because she's not come across the start-finish line either. She's dropped down to 26th place in that race. But James Anagnostianis, he starts his day well, adds another win to his name. 25 or 50 intermediate classification points to his name. Replay here with Dinia Islamov. Is this the reason what happened? Also, driver's just going slow in front. He was full power. He tried to get going again off the track, and that is a rough part of the circuit there, and understandably that may have caused multiple mechanical gremlins with his car. There's a look then at the provisional classifications at the end of qualifying heat 1. Anagnostianis from Kelleher. Aryan Singh finishing in third place out of Conor Clancy. Nathan Cappin. We didn't say much about Nathan Cappin. 10 places gained. He finishes inside that top 5. Axel Nocom, Matthias Wittfer from Prodotti finishing in 8th place. Didier Krief from Via Chopra. Oscar Gallin from Nicholas Stanley, who gained 17 places in that race to finish in P12. Ella Hakkinen finishing just behind in 13th place ahead of Vanessa Shilkaneta from William Marshall. Mitansh Jain from Angelina Simmons. Zachariah Dole from Marcel Sabella. Maxim Bobrajov from Sanjana Dandu. Dinia Islamov drops to 22nd place from Sujana Dandu. Toby Gale from Kareen Kaur. Victoria Farfus was a retirement at the end of that race. She became the latest retirement ahead of Leonidas Peruzzi. Raipold, Vishamirska, Dukowski and Jurland not starting that race. Here's a look at the highlights, and already right at the start, Tavia Dukowski, Amelia Vishamirska and Kasper Raipold off the track at turn number 1. And we were just talking about how Raipold needed to get the good results in here. He's second in the championship, and his championship rival has just won the first qualifying heat of the day. Race continuing then with the 3 having to watch from the sidelines. Not the start of the day they wanted. Lead change in the early stages. Aryan Singh started to make his way through. He started to really close in on Anagnostianis. He would push his way to the front for a brief moment, but James Anagnostianis would recover there. Leonidas Peruzzi, yesterday's qualifying heat 1 winner, out of the race on lap number 1. Devastating news for Peruzzi. But again, he's got another qualifying heat later on today. There was that lead overtake, and there was it being caught back from Anagnostianis. Kelleher would try and go down the inside as well. He'd have to wait a lap or 2, though, to get that move done. And there you can see the mechanics just saying, right, keep pushing, keep going for it. And there, Kelleher getting that move done down the inside of Aryan Singh, putting him into 2nd place. He was going to work. He managed to close in on Anagnostianis at the end of that one, finishing 0.043 off the race leader, as everyone watching from the sidelines just assessing the junior race there. Here, the battle, once again, Connor Clancy having to go defensive, but Aryan Singh keeping his nose firmly on that inside line, sends it down the inside, confirms a third place finish. This one here for Denia Islamov at the end of the race, just getting caught out with traffic in front, nowhere he could go, has to take to the gravel, and that unfortunately just scuppers any chance of getting up the order. There was the moment of nearly celebrating too soon. Anagnosiadis checks over his left shoulder, only to see his right shoulder to find Daniel Kelleher not less than a tenth of a second behind him, completely unaware. Well, a first junior race done and dusted. 2 more races to go before we take a mid-qualifying heat break, but we'll turn our attention now to the Mini 60 category that'll be heading out on to the circuit. And once again, this weekend, we've seen brand new pole sitters in 2024 for the Champions of the Future Academy program. We've seen it again, but this time in the Mini 60 category. There on the right-hand side of your screen from Australia, the 816, Koda Singh, in his first pole position appearance in the Academy program. There is a look at his results over the course of this season. A few DNFs, some 22nd places. It's not been the season for him in Europe, but over here in the Middle East this time around, it's worked out well for him. Dubai was an interesting weekend as well for him. Didn't get the results, and yesterday, 7th. This was a tricky one as well, but this time around, he has got pole position. That's where he needs to be. That is the session he wanted, and he was super, super happy when we spoke to him after time qualifying. But qualifying was an interesting one for the Mini category. Everyone waiting to the very last second to go out for the qualifying session. It's a 6-minute session, but the drivers here all went out with about 2 minutes to go. There, though, is your pole sitter for the Mini 60 under 10 category. Achilles Peruzzi, who put it on the front row, second overall, but fastest in the Mini under 10s. There's a look at his results so far over the season. They've been good, but again, he's still waiting for that top spot in one of those finals. Let's see what he can do from the front row again today, as the temperature again increasing as the day goes on. Nikita Jalilov again, yesterday's pole sitter for the Mini 60. This time around, just missed out on it, putting himself P3 overall. He starts right behind Koda Singh on that front row. There he is on your screen, a wave and a smile from Nikita Jalilov ahead of this race. But let's see what he can do from that second row of the grid. He'll be joined by Lorenzo Zucchetto of Switzerland, who will be starting alongside on that second row of the grid. Again, a field of relatively newish drivers. There's a look at the Vega tyres on board the Minis. And there you can see Koda Singh's kart battle-scarred over the course of this weekend. But these tyres will be the same tyres they will use over the course of the entirety of today. They will have to use them in qualifying. They've already done that. Qualifying heats and, of course, the finals later on today. There is Lorenzo Zucchetto starting on the second row of the grid. A look at his final results over the course of the season. In Europe, not too bad. 12th places in Cremona. It was good at Valencia as well. 7th and a 12th, and a double top 10 finish in Franciacorta in Italy as well. Heading to Dubai, not the weekend he wanted. 21st and 17th, 14th yesterday as well here at the Al Ain circuit. But today, with that qualifying, certainly will be able to improve it. Benjamin Krajkovic as well, a really good qualifying this time around compared to yesterday. Finds himself starting on the third row of the grid as well in the 862. And he'll be joined by Mathis Margeau as well of France, who rounds out row number 3. Certainly going to be a tense time, though, for the Minis. And a reminder of yesterday in those qualifying heats. Priam Bruno taking the win in qualifying heat 1 ahead of Albert Tam. There was nothing. 5 thousandths of a second separated the top 2 in that first qualifying heat. Nicolo Perico rounded out the top 3 in that first qualifying heat. Heat 2 was Aaron Mason in his first qualifying heat win of the season. He was joined again by Albert Tam. They were separated by 400ths of a second across the line. Once again, Nicolo Perico rounding out the top 3. The final as well, however, in the Mini category, that was also an interesting one. For the under 10s, it was Perico, Ava Lawrence and Achilles Peruzzi who rounded out the top drivers in that final. But in the other under 10s, it was still another very busy day for the minis. But the engines fire up, drivers head out onto the circuit. Let's take you through that full starting lineup for the first time this season. Koda Singh starts on pole position and joined by Achilles Peruzzi, Nikita Zalilov, and Lorenzo Zucchetto on row number 2. Benjamin Krajkovic and Matis Brajot go from row 3. They'll be joined by Jan Garzelik and Nicolo Perico on row 4. Albert Tam and Augustine Falagoni on row 5. They'll be joined by Priyan Bruno and Ava Lawrence on row 6. Aaron Mason and Ari Kallenberg go from row 7. They'll have Sebastian Kurz and Theodore Constantinou on row 8. Vincente Capella and David Shitov on row number 9. Davide Di Filippo and Daniela Verba, they round out the top 20. They go from row 10. They'll be joined by Akita Mir and Giovanni Desani Jr. on row 11. Suleiman Mucho and Daoud Sanfari, the two Moroccans, starting from row number 12. They'll be joined by Saif Alabadli from Qatar and Mark Martin Lomet of Estonia. Oscar Singh, brother and family of Koda Singh, start complete opposites of the grid. He'll be starting 27th and at the back of the field. So that is going to be an interesting one to see what happens in this qualifying heat. Yesterday, these heats finished with milliseconds between the drivers. It's all about the slipstream. It's all about the tow. It's all about working together as a pack. But you don't want to get caught out in those traffic moments and the tight, twisty sections or anything out there. You've got to just make sure that you keep that clean racing line throughout this race. And I think we've already had a little bit of drama here. Yes, indeed, a little bit of concertina effect. Now, that's a risky one, of course, because incidents like that could result in a nose cone penalty, which results in a undisputable post-race 5-second time penalty that does get applied if they do drop that front nose. If the bracket comes loose and it drops, they get that 5-second time penalty and they cannot dispute it. So they do need to be careful with that. All right, drivers then making their way on to the back straight. They'll be heading to the red line this time around. Nice and bunched up, nice and controlled. Of course, this is Koda Singh's first time starting on the front row of this grid with the Champions of the Future Academy program. He's not shy of a pole position and starting in these races. He's a very talented racer from Australia, and he's delivered some good results over the course of his racing career. Can he better that here, though, at the Ain Raceway in the United Arab Emirates? It's Mini 60. It's Sunday's racing for round 5 as we head into the tram lines. Are we racing first time? Yes, we are. We're green and racing down in towards turn number 1 as one of the carts gets spat out of the field there towards turn 1. And there is drama as well as round goes the 862 and is out of the race right to the back of the field. That is Krajkovic. Benjamin Krajkovic out of this race. He was on the 3rd row of the grid. He is joined as well by another, and that is Achilles Peruzzi. Achilles Peruzzi from the front row of the grid has tumbled to the back at turn number 1, and that is disaster for 2 drivers out of this race in the word go. But at the front here, Koda Singh with the clear track in front has been able to break away here. The 816 driving away from the field. Look at the gap he's got already. That's exemplary. However, it's not going to be the best for him because he will have no tow. He will have no bump draft. He'll be left alone. He'll be punching the hole through the air for every single one of these drivers to get that tow, to get that slipstream, to close that gap. But it's Albert Tam there in 2nd place, but not for much longer as Jan Garzelik sends it down the inside at turn number 1, and Garzelik gets up into 2nd place. We didn't see much of Jan Garzelik yesterday. Today, though, however, that qualifying to put him in 7th place has proved vital, but he gets spat out wide there, and the 830 now tumbles down the order. And now Nikita Zalilov gets up into 2nd place. He's going to push himself forward now. He's joined by Priyan Bruno, who's there in 3rd place. He's joined as well by Aaron Mason. Now, Aaron Mason yesterday was a qualifying heat winner. These 3 know how to work together, and I suspect Koda Singh, who's in the lead now by 1.1 seconds, that gap, I suspect, will drop down with these 3 punching the hole through the air, pushing each other along. Of course, as we always say, more wheels work better than just the 4 ahead of them. The gap's 1.1, they cross the line. What does it go down to? 0.8 of a second. You see it there straight away. That is no disregard to Kota Singh. His pace is quick. He's purple sectors. He's personal best as well. He's pushing his way through exemplary, but it's just that slipstream. It's just the toe. He cannot escape it. That's the problem with it. And Priyan Bruno setting that fastest lap of the race, as unfortunately tumbling down the order right to the back of the field is Saif Al Obaidli. Unfortunately, he's had drama at turn number 1, and he will go no further in this race in terms of gaining positions, but he will unfortunately slowly trundle along the track. There he is on your screen, not what he wants at all, but that is a devastating start to his second day of racing here. Back with the second place battle, and eyes on this. No change between them as they are all working together here to try and close in on that front runner. Kota Singh still in control of this race. What happened to Saif Al Obaidli? Well, there you can see he's side by side with others, and he just hits that curb. It is a very heavy curb there, and unfortunately for him, as he was putting the power down, it just rotated on him, and unfortunately out of the race. Back here, though, lead fight is on. Kota Singh has been caught. He was not able to escape the slipstream. And, well, there, straight away, Nikita Jalilov is going to go for the lead on the right-hand side of your screen. Left-hand side is that race start, and that is how Achilles Peruzzi and both Kanajkovic ended up out of the race. And that is a huge moment for them there. Not good at all. And you can just see that inside curb. When they hit that, there's a big crest there, and these karts are so small that it just bottoms out as they get air. It unsettles the kart far too much, and unfortunately for them, they rotated and out of this race. But eyes still focusing on this one. Jalilov leading the way here. He had a brilliant round in Dubai the last time out, did Nikita Jalilov in his first appearance in the Academy program. This time out at the Ain circuit, certainly going his way as well. In that final, finished second yesterday after gaining 5 positions. So it'll be crucial to see what he can do here in these qualifying heats. Priyan Bruno, who was on the top step of that podium yesterday, is back on the top spot now as he sends it down the inside. And just as quick as Jalilov got into first place, he's back down to P4. And through goes Kota Singh and Aaron Mason as they go now wheel to wheel with Priyan Bruno, who's trying to break away, but he's not going to do so. He just cannot escape this slipstream here. We are on lap 5 of 7. Race distance is slowly running out for these top 3 drivers. Opportunities to get past are slowly running out. We go on to lap number 6. 5 laps completed. The last lap board will be out this time to these front runners when they next reach that start-finish line. There you can see the second group behind as well. It's being led by Nicolo Perico. Ari Kallenberg is in that group as well. Albert Tam, who was fighting right at the front with this group here. Unfortunately, he's dropped down to 7th place, but he's still up 2 spots in this one. He's got Felagoni behind. Ava Lawrence is up to P8 now as well. Felagoni now dropping to 9th place. Marc-Martin Lumet, we've not said much about him, but he's up 16 places in this race. He is inside the top 10. That is an outstanding performance in this first race on the back of the grid. And make that, he's inside the top 10 now. He's up 17 into P9 as here to the inside. Here we go. Nikita Jalilov sends it to 3rd place. He's got past Aaron Mason. Priyan Bruno going defensive as well. Last lap board then, out this time there. Race director Martin Bean watching the drivers across the start-finish line. Are we going to see a lead change here? Could Kota Singh come away with his first qualifying heat win of the season? Or will he have to battle tooth and nail with Priyan Bruno, who has won multiple races this season? He is the championship leader. He is dominating so far, but can he hold on to this qualifying heat? Down the back straight, in towards 7, 8 and 9. Kota Singh's on that rear bumper, but he has not managed to find a way through just yet. He has stayed behind right now, but he's on that rear bumper. We've still got the long slipstream of turns 11, 12, but we're not even going to wait for that. He's going to send it down the inside at turn 11. Can he make that work? No, he can't. He's into the wall. Kota Singh, the pole sitter, is out of the race. He tried to go down the inside at turn 12, but the door was closed. And Brian Bruno holds on to the lead, but there to the line, it will be Brian Bruno across the line. He takes it across the line, an absolutely fantastic performance. He started this one P11. He gained 10 places. He brought Aaron Mason along with him. There is Koda Singh walking and out of the kart, which is great to see. But my goodness, you've got to admire his attempt there to try and get into the lead. But that is a very, very scary moment. But thankfully, he's walking, he's okay. But that is a big, big shame for Koda Singh. Here's how it happened again and how it unfolded. Down the inside at turn 11, nearly worked out there. He kept his wheels down the inside. Unfortunately, that front right just clipping the rear wheel of Brian Bruno and sending him into the wall there. And understandably, very, very frustrated is Koda Singh after his brilliant performance in time qualifying. Brian Bruno then claims his first heat win of today ahead of Aaron Mason. Nikita Davidov finishing in third place. Nicolo Perico getting up to P4 ahead of Martin Lorma to gain 21 places in that qualifying heat. Ava Lawrence finishing in P6 ahead of Albert Tam. Vicente Capella from Felagoni. Daniela Verba finishing in 10th place after gaining 10 places ahead of Matis Barjot. Ari Kallenberg in 12th place from Atika Mir. Oscar Singh from Theodore Constantinou, Lorenzo Zucchetto from Giovanni Desani Jr., David Chitov from Achilles Peruzzi, who recovered back to 19th place from the start of that race, ahead of Kalajkovic, who also recovered back to 20th. Mucho from Gaziale, Kers from Davide Di Filippo, Zanfari from Alavidli, who rounded out the 26 finishes. And there on your screen, the only retirement from that race, Koda Singh.